Hello, this lesson is Monday, March 23rd's math lesson. And I am wondering if you guys want me to do math videos in two parts, one for Math 65 and one for 76, or if you're okay with them being together, because a lot of the other teachers are actually splitting their videos. And I just was wondering what you guys thought. Today I will do them together, but if you can please have your parent email me and tell me if you just want one video for 65 and one for 76, so that you only need to watch the one that you are in, the math class you're in. You can let me know and I can make two videos. Either way works fine. Today we are on lesson 110. And for Math 65, we are going to talk about simplifying decimal numbers. So we have learned how to simplify other numbers, and really that is the finished form of a number. We should always write them simplified. For decimal numbers, really what that means is just to take off any extra zero. Any zeros that would, that you can take off without affecting the value. So right here, we have a value of 2/10, and in order to simplify this, we would just take off the zero, because that does not change the value of our number at all. We can remove zeros from the front of whole numbers and from the back of decimal numbers. So if we have a whole number, like this. Now, obviously we cannot get rid of zeros that are in between numbers because those hold a place value. But we can get rid of this number and this zero and these zeros that come after. So instead of writing 0.0100, we would just write 2 1/100. In the center, now if there's a number in the center number, then make sure, like if there's a number, a whole number and a decimal number with a zero in between, you have to leave that number. You can't change that. But what if you have something like this? 20.0. Well, we need to remember we can only remove decimals before a whole number and after a decimal number. So we would not remove that zero because that would take our value from 20 down to 2. So we simply can remove the zero and the decimal number that still has a value of 20. Now, if you have a number that the only number before the decimal number is a zero, you can actually remove that. You would keep the decimal point because that tells us that it is less than a whole number, and then write the whole number, and then you can get rid of that, and that has the same value. So for lesson 110, you have, I'll just write the problem down that I want you to do. And, oh, and then they want you to be able to add some together and simplify. So we're gonna do one of those. So here are your practice problems for today. I want you to simplify A and B by taking off all the zeros that do not change the value. So anything before the decimal and after the decimal that don't change the value. Then I want you to write this down, subtract it, and then take off any zeros that do not change the value. And that is your practice problems for the day. And then you have set 110. And so that would be evens, since we haven't taken a test if you're on half sets, or all if you're still on whole sets. And let me see. Nope, just do evens and or the whole set depending on what you are on. Okay, Math 76, lesson 110 is on symmetry. A figure is symmetrical if it can be divided in half and both sides are mirror images of each other. There are actually things in nature that are symmetrical. A butterfly is, so meaning the wings and even the body are mirror images of one another. Fish and our bodies are generally symmetrical. You could, for the most part, our bodies are symmetrical. Some people more than others, for sure. So if we have this triangle and this line, which is not super straight, but divides it in half, then we have a line of symmetry. Now this one can only have one line of symmetry, because if we were to cut it the other way, obviously that wouldn't be a mirror image. Now, look at this shape and tell me how many ways can we put a line through it to form lines of symmetry? Okay. So we know that we could do in half, but what's another way? We can also do horizontally. Oh man, my lines are really not straight. But if they were, you would get the point. So the rectangle has two lines of symmetry. Now, do all triangles have lines of symmetry? All right, and these three shapes, which ones have lines of symmetry and which ones do not? So which ones are symmetrical? Well, we know that we can cut this one in half. Therefore, this is symmetrical. This one we can as well at a diagonal. But this one, if we did it at a diagonal, that would not be the same. And if we did it up and down, that would not be the same. So A and B are symmetrical and C is not symmetrical, okay? And that is how we decide if they have lines of symmetry or not and how many lines of symmetry they have. All right, for your practice problems tonight, it says to sketch 4 squares and write 4 different ways to draw lines of symmetry. Remember, vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. And then it says which of these letters does not have a line of symmetry. So pretty much you can cut them either vertically or horizontally and they would reflect each other. So they're asking which one does not. You guys have problem set 110 as well. And so that is evens if you are on half sets, odds if you are on full sets. And let me see. I think that's it. I don't think we need to do any extra. So just set 110. All right, thank you guys. Have an awesome day.